Hey Fairfield fans, welcome into the first edition of the Stag Report on College Hoops Digest. I'm Dan Gardella. Once again, the Fairfield Stags are picked to finish on the bottom half of the MAAC. With the preseason poll coming out, the Stags sit at 7th after last year finishing 6th and making a miraculous run to the MAAC Tournament championship. They look to make it back, however, with a different group of players. Fairfield loses their top 2 scorers from last season in Tyler Nelson and Farron Flavors Jr., but bring in 4 newcomers, 3 freshmen and a transfer. One of those freshmen being Neftali Alvarez, the top point guard in the state of Florida. I was able to check him out, as well as the rest of the team, at their open scrimmage a couple weeks ago, and they look good. Alvarez, a point guard who is pass first but has been developing his shot, Sidney Johnson tells me. Him, as well as Idis Kavalauskas, are going to work as a 1-2 punch in that backcourt. When I talked to Johnson over the summer, he said competition will dictate who will get the minutes between Alvarez, Kavalauskas, Taj Benning, as well as many others. We go from the backcourt to the front court, as there are 2 players that catch my eye in the Stags front court that could make a big impact for the Stags this season: Wasif Methnani and Kevin Senghorn-Peterson. We start with Methnani, a sophomore from Tunisia who averaged about 6.5 points and 4 rebounds last season. He may be the first option off the bench or start, depending on how big or small Sidney Johnson wants to go. For Peterson, another sophomore from Sweden, had some work to do in the summer as he competed in the FIBA U20 Euro Championships. He looks to make a significant stride from last season. Finally, we'll close with the 2 senior leaders on the Stags, and Jonathan Kasababu and Mattia Millen. Kasababu, who I talked to at the scrimmage a couple weeks ago, said trust is the biggest factor to leading such a young team. He told me if you trust them, they trust you. Millen, the other senior leader, whose minutes fluctuated last season, will also look to lead this team in a second role. As Johnson told me, this is Kasababu's team. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Stag Report. Tune in next week and stay locked into our Twitter at GardellaDan and at NCAA Hoops Digest.